So viva CDC, viva! Folks who are watching from British Africa Live, we are here at the of the Coalition for Democratic Change. And yeah, we are where the CDC in a moment from now they will be addressing the press. After the announcement from President Boakai, and so CDC as we bring you live coverage of this event. Here with us in this conference room is Senator Membasa County, President Fini, and others. So some other legislature are also here, District number 9 representative. Friends of Focus also here.
At this critical juncture, we'd like to use this wavelength to branch our revolutionary tentacles in the media landscape, to bring you one fraternal, unabated revolutionary felicitation from mitochondria and bulwark of the national liberation struggle of the indomitable Mali Coalition for Democratic Change. Comrades, it is often said that historical circumstances led to
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate, I am deeply honored to announce the arrival of the most powerful chairman in the political history of Liberia, Chairman Boakai.
Oh, Chairman! So we said, Congress, that historical circumstances as a way of promoting entities, bandits to the position of entity, the position of relevance. For us in politics, when there are contradictions, they become the raw material for a revolution. And that's why these historical gigafleets who have desecrated the sacredness and caricature the state of the nation address, there will be men and women who will come to decipher the contradiction and resolve it to zero sum. Comrades, we have elected to invite to this motion a young revolutionary female commandante who will be joining us through the itinerary as we speak to the masses of our people on issues of critical national concerns, to the mass media, the broader masses of our people on contradictions in the national governance architecture of our body politics. On the basis of that, comrades, permit me now to invite to the Russian comrades, Mama Sikaba.
Our selection today speaks volume to CDC's commitment to gender equality as it was demonstrated even during our regime. I am deeply humbled to have mounted this podium to play the role being assigned to me. At this juncture, without delay, I would like to recognize our legislators, especially the Honorable Senator and one-time pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Besonga Finley, of them by At that juncture, I will reduce my hat and ask Honorable Foko to kindly introduce our distinguished lawmakers that are sitting over there.
We replace our ballon 2 hours, please. Say. No 9 in it says yes. Say. The free education at the University of Liberia and free WASP will continue to say. Thank you very much. I represent the people of Victoria District number 9, Mosorado County, the most urban district in the Republic of Liberia. And at this juncture, I want to call Comrade Zina from Bapulu County.
Comrades and friends, thank you very much. I don't know I'm in a normal Babu County, one-time chairperson of Mali Coalition Democratic Change. Also former senator of Babu County, representing the people of Babu County, the District number 1 representative. I can show the party of blood and souls begin to stand for the cause. We can show the people of Babu County and the Republic of Liberia that will stand to defend the Monobo Party, which is the CDC, Congress of Democratic Change. Thank you.
Amanda! Thank you, fellow comrades. Let me not take more time. I'm Honorable Eugene J.M. Cully. I do represent one of the historic districts in the Republic of Liberia. Where you found the Panawi waterfall. You see the Cotton University. You see the Carry and Phoebe Hospital. Eugene J.M. Cully, thank you so much.
At their presence, no one needs to be told that the CDC believes in the promotion of young people, especially in this dispensation. Looking at statistics, Liberia is a youthful country. That is why we believe strongly that it is a movement where young people should be given the opportunity to steer the affair of this nation, while the old folks should take the back.
Before we do protest, we'll pray some cattle down behind your horses.
We are of the stronger conviction that the old folks should step back and give support to the young generation. Because this is our generation. It is unfortunate to see that some old people do not want to leave the stage, even though they have reached retirement stage. But we erect the necessary checkpoints as always. At this point, we'd like to hear a brief remark from our Honorable Senator, Honorable Weston Garfield.
Let me give thanks and praises to the Almighty God, Mr. Chairman, Secretary General, members of the Legislature, party stewards, partisans of CDC. I'm delighted to be here tonight to share the platform of a strong opposition bloc that is going to address the issues affecting the Liberian people. We must have our say. Why the majority will have their way, but we must also be able to say those things that are not true, those things that are not in the interest of the Liberian people, to speak up against it, to work towards correcting the wrong and keeping this government put to the fire. If you are coming to rescue Liberia, you must have a program that will show us a clear path to improve the lives of the Liberian people. In the absence of that, we will stand up tall and we will speak tall to wrong. So I'm here tonight to share with CDC party in a response. I will be responding tomorrow on the floor of the Senate.
You be in trouble.
As a senator, to the message that the President delivered today. So I'm here, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary General, officials of CDC party, partisans of CDC, to witness your response to what the President has said. And we look forward to this kind of collaboration going forward. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here with you tonight.
Thank you so very much. As we are nearing a critical juncture in the concluding aspect of this program, I would like to recognize members of the Governing Council, members of the National Executive Committee, even though it includes the Women's League, the Revolutionary National Youth League, and everyone. I'd like to recognize all of us, partisans and Liberians that are listening to us via radio and social media. At this juncture, I am humbled to call to this podium a man who has developed the capacity of young people, who have produced a lot of young people, including my very self, as young leaders of this nation. I am so pleased, with no delay, to honorably invite to this podium the most powerful young man in the history of Liberia, not just politics. This young man, when he was in high school, he advocated for justice. He sought justice. He was an advocate. And we remain unapologetic. We remain unwavering. We stand by him. He's our leader. He made us, and we are proud of him. If being our leader and being proud of him being our leader will make people to discriminate us or marginalize us, we are open to that. At this juncture, I am pleased to call or to invite to this podium for onward presentation of the chairman, the Honorable SG, Honorable
Presented each and every one of us here in this place. I want to re-emphasize standing on all existing protocols to recognize the presence of our young, energetic, courageous parliamentarians, legislators who have chosen to soldier on for the People's Party. Honorable distinguished Senator, former pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Basanga Finley, this party enjoyed the companionship along with you. It's something that we bear true witness and testimony. I want to say to you on behalf of the political leader and the former president, Dr. George Manawia, who I just communicated not too long with, he's excited to have you here today. He has said he is very interested in having a very active and constructive opposition. And we are open to all of Liberians who believe in this country, and you're trying to find a pathway to communicate your view. We still believe, even though you say minority have your say and majority, but CDC constitutes the vast majority of the Liberian people that remain unabated. So today we have come to state categorically the naked deception of our chef, Mr. Boakai. And we have no attempt to delve into what will be shared here today. But again, we want to assure those young people within the Unity Party and the Alliance Unity Party, those people who fought and stood the test of time, who are being duped and misled, they have been misled by what you witness about what is happening currently. And before we now allow our chairperson, who is charged with the responsibility to display here tonight and read exactly exposing the deception of Mr. Boakai, we quickly want to reflect on some of the things that is happening. We want to encourage the president, as he clearly stated, about taking just steps. We think that is an affirmation to the call for his national state health status. We think it's important for us to begin from that you must first of all declare to us clearly your health status.
So,
We're very interested, and we thought that it's also hypocritical that you attended an occasion that has been marked with the untimely death of Liberian citizens. And today, those citizens who lost their life were not mentioned by you today, not even telling us whether you have interacted with the family and the status of those people, whether we have the medical record, or whether we have some level of investigation that led to the untimely demise of those Liberian citizens. We are deeply concerned about that. We're also concerned about the shared national embarrassment, an occasion of a meant for joyous historical event, but it was being marked with thinking and loss of life. It's very interesting and very concerning. But that is not for me to see. And today, I just want to make reference. Okay. We're saying things where you're saying just the beginning. People who were not saying yet, but they're now being given an opportunity to replace people rather than to bring change. We see a point where Mr. Boakai is now being very nepotistic, giving his foster son to serve over the commerce of our country, allowing the senator to have his in-law to serve, to be nominated as education minister. These are the people who are claiming here that they love this country. These are the people who are claiming, African Senator, Garros belong today. After claiming, after benefiting from the Liberian people, you become the person to nominate in front of the United partisans. I want to challenge, show me one of the occasions when you have seen the newly nominated education minister, wherever she has paraded or she paraded to anything representing the United Party. And somebody said, lead the Pope Party, no, we are interested. Those who are there, they are partisans and they are Liberians. They are Liberian friends who become partisans. So we concern, we want to see President Boakai, President, we have did something, and we want to see the young folks in the Unity Party. We want to see you giving them opportunity. We want to see you giving them opportunity. We're very excited that you have Amos 12. That's the Liberia we want to see. Kula for fun, and we are very interested. And we are very excited. But anything falling short of that is that you took the young people. And we want to say it is bad. You cannot mislead the young people. And I just want to seize this opportunity to reflect on that. He said, give Caesar what belongs to him. We're here, for us, it's not personal. It was political. We saw our friends, we campaigned with them. We have nothing personal with them, we respect them. And to see them not being considered, and to see them to be where you try to disrespect them, you try to ill-treat them, and you think they were only good to canvass for you, but they're not good enough for you to repose your confidence in them. It's alarming and it's worrisome. And to see the likes of Dillon to be recommending his sister-in-law, who were far away from the people campaign, but now to come and reap a fruit of which she has no participation in, is something we need to be very clear of. And to see Mr. Boakai also attempting to give a foster son to preside over the economy, the man who is also a major participant in the economy of our country, that also worries us. Things that you claim that we did not do, we expect you to come and do them. And that's why responsibly, maturely, the CDC take over this country, not for you to abuse it, for you to do what is appropriate. Make no mistake, and you think because we take over this country and become a luxury for misbehavior, it will be checkmated with immediate effect. Having said that, I want to give an opportunity at this point in time, our distinguished friends, comrades, Liberians who listening to us, a government in which Western Witherspoon have become a chief architect of decision making. We are very concerned about it. We want to know whether the Americans are also interested. If you have a corporate, an inductee, who is being indicted for violating laws on the American soil, but this is the man who is a chief architect, who beat his chest to be the lead decision maker of our country. Mr. Boakai needs to tell us. And we're also concerned, very, very concerned, about his foreign policy, where you will be inviting a lead opposition leader in South Africa. We're concerned and knowing fully well about his policy against the Americans, against a lot of international standing. Mr. Boakai needs to tell us about his foreign policy. We will not sit here so promptly and say because we're given an opportunity to lead this country, he's going to make decisions that will affect the Liberian people, will all intervene. With this being said, I want to say thank you so kindly, and I have the most singular honor to bring forth, to present to you the view and to unmask the naked deception of Mr. Boakai. And that person who is charged with a single responsibility, he's no one else. And interestingly, a son from Lofa country. He's a son of a traditional hunter from a humble background. He's been destinated to fight in defense of the defenseless people. On this note, Honorable Chairperson Boakai, you have a distinguished honor.
Taking a stand to respond to the message of President Joseph
A
Boakai.
message without solutions. Boakai's sona, high on cliche and barren rhetorics, low on specific policy prescription. A response by the Coalition for Democratic Change for President Joseph Boakai's first State of the Nation address. Members of the Governing Council and the National Executive Committee, the Speaker if present, and members of the CDC Legislative Caucus, members of the mighty Coalition for Democratic Change, members of affiliated political parties, the people of Liberia. Today we have gathered here at this sacred and historic national headquarters of the CDC to respond to the State of the Nation address delivered a few hours ago by His Excellency Joseph Boakai in fulfilling a requirement enshrined in Section 58 of our Constitution. Before doing so, we must first extend our deepest appreciation to the close to 1 million Liberians who through their votes expressed confidence and appreciation for the many achievements carried out by the CDC-led government over the last 6 years. Even though we lost the legal authority to govern by less than a percentage point 2 months ago, the verdict of the Liberian people, as I mentioned in our concession speech a fortnight ago, was prodigally split in the middle. This decision makes our country a divided nation in critical and urgent need for reconciliation, inclusion, and the maintenance of peace and stability. Despite the results of the elections, the CDC remains grateful to all Liberians for their peaceful participation in our recent presidential and legislative elections. We also note, however, with regret, acts of violence perpetrated by the current ruling party, i.e. the Unity Party, which resulted in the brutal killings of members of the CDC including partisan Tamba Momo in the 4 years unprovoked attack at the home of Honorable Thomas P. Fala, who is now our proud Deputy Speaker. We are still grieving the killing of partisan Joshua Solomon, who is alleged to have been murdered by a partisan mob of the Unity Party under the command of one of President Joseph Boakai's confidants called Madam Queen Johnson. And we remember the sad murder of partisan Aloysius Bain in Nimba County by MDRL operatives. Ladies and gentlemen, may we kindly take a moment of silence as we rise up, as we remember those fallen heroes just mentioned, the other victims not yet mentioned. Thank you, please have your seat.
Long live the dying spirit of our comrades. Long live. Long live. Long live the fighting spirit of our compeers. Long live. Long live.
Another victim not yet mentioned, as I said earlier, but who fell prey to the systematic acts of violence sponsored and perpetrated by the Unity Party during the period of our elections last year. As we move forward under a different responsibility, the CDC yet takes pride that our democracy is stronger, enviable, and envied by our friends in West Africa and many parts of the world because we chose peace over violence. The CDC chose Liberia's stability over maintaining power. We chose setting an unprecedented democratic process and credentials over the pleasantry that comes with holding political power. We sacrificed our ambition for continued governance, for the peace and growth of Liberia. And so, even while we were being murdered, we were more concerned about the safety of our dear country. While we were being cheated, we were more concerned about upholding the integrity of our election process, which is an essential cornerstone for our democracy. Additionally, CDC is proud of all that he achieved in the last 6 years, which many has agreed is unprecedented for any president and government to accomplish in his first term in office, especially under the condition we took over the mantle of state, and in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic challenges, which we did not allow to derail our development agenda. As we highlight those conditions and what we did accomplish, let me quickly remind all of us that CDC narrowly lost the elections, but it will never lose its commitment to fighting for the good governance and the well-being of all Liberians. The CDC has therefore made it clear to all its lawmakers, amongst whom are the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, to uphold this commitment and use it as the most important measure of cooperation between the legislative and executive branch of government. The Boakai's bland vision. The Boakai's bland vision. The President of Liberia, while addressing the legislators, unveiled a vision he termed as arrest. Clearly, without mentioning how this vision could be implemented or paid for, and lacking in strategy and specification for its implementation, this vision is nothing more than an unrealistic campaign sloganeering. This vision is built on impracticality, vagueness, and dishonesty. The entire address by President Boakai was high on blank cliché, bereft of even the rudimentary ingredients for sound legislative agenda, falling short of the constitutional requirement to unveil such a vision as a national document. The state of the nation, as addressed by Mr. Boakai. Contrary to President Boakai's claim that the state of the nation is in distress, even though he offered no policy prescription or solution on how he intends to, quote, rescue, unquote, this situation, except for saying he would think outside the box. The CDC left the state of our nation stronger than it met it. For example, and President Boakai is inheriting $222.7 billion US dollars. I will say that again. President Boakai is inheriting, that is, he is inheriting from the CDC-led government that just left power, $222.7 billion US dollars in the net international reserve, and over $40 million US dollars in the consolidated account as at January 17, 2023, left behind by the CDC-led government, compared to the under $7 billion US dollars the CDC inherited when it took power from the Salif Boakai-led government in 2017. The CDC is appalled that even at this early stage, President Boakai will seek to mislead the public about the financial situation of our country by disputing the figures quoted by former President Weah during his farewell statement on 21st January 2024, which are available. We challenge President Boakai to publish the statement of the consolidated account of the period within 48 hours, or the CDC will make public copies of that document. On the question of his accepted comments on the budget deficit, it must be noted the fiscal year 2023 budget was recast after actual revenue collection amounted to $710 million US dollars was achieved. This actual collection represented the highest amount of revenue collected in contemporary Liberian politics. While serving as vice president of this republic, his government never got close to this amount of revenue or never actualized it through all their 12 years. The United Party government, at the close of 2017, concealed several domestic debts, that is, it hid, concealed several domestic debts, including $107 million from the IMF through the CBL, $65 million for commercial banks, among others, and willfully failed to recognize these debts as part of the domestic debt stock. This represented a gross understatement of debt stock. Of the $2.2 billion debt stock reported, about 60% was contracted under the United Party regime. Agriculture in limbo. Agriculture in limbo. During the campaign, then candidate Boakai prided himself as the agriculture czar and used agriculture for the immediate economic revitalization and social transformation. On the contrary, while addressing the legislature in his State of the Nation, President Boakai offered nothing new, nor any specific strategy for agricultural growth, except that he provided a vague vision of, quote, strengthening collaboration with international partners and local farmers to improve production, unquote. How such will be achieved or will achieve growth is left to the imagination of Liberians and our partners alike. Legislative, non-agenda. Legislative, non-agenda. The president seems to have forgotten that many of the bills he seeks to propose as a pillar of the legislative agenda were already submitted to the previous legislature. The CDC offers its support in this regard to ensure those bills of which it is the progenitor are passed. President Boakai, during the campaign and his inaugural speech, was very direct and forceful on establishment of a war and economic crimes court for Liberia. He was very vocal and very forceful, and very emphatic about the establishment of a war and economic crimes court for Liberia during the campaign and his inaugural speech.
Amanda!
Away to!
Now, this commitment is even heavily backed by our international partners and the locals. But 2 days ago, his strongest ally, Senator Prince Johnson, mocked him and went further to attack the physical look of the president on such things. We are convinced that President Boakai's refusal today to reiterate his call for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court and set out a legislative pathway to ensure its establishment is strictly predicated upon the threat coming from the Senator of Neighbor County, Prince Johnson. Boakai must act by submitting such a bill to the legislature, or the CDC will again petition its lawmakers to do the needful for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court for Liberia. However, the world stands short that the president who has boasted that he could establish the War and Economic Crimes Court will backslide so early due to political pressure from his godfather ally. The CDC believes nothing is more urgent and pressing now than the call for justice and the rule of law, of which the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court is a cardinal cornerstone, as was contained in former President Weah's letter to the previous legislature, to begin steps to ensure transitional justice in Liberia. Civil servant.
You say, when you tell we are Moruweka.
To make the government more effective and efficient, we must focus on public service deliveries. The people, not the government, must come first. The people, not the government, must come first. This sloganary from President Boakai in dealing with the growth in the size of the civil servants is no strategy in mitigating or addressing the issue of civil servants' growth and well-being. The CDC introduced the harmonization, which it believes is the best policy and strategy to contain and sustain the group of civil servants' salaries. That President Boakai did not offer any new policy in contradiction to this policy is a veiled acceptance that all his and the United Party's criticism were vainglorious and pandering to the voters. Fellow citizens, in 2017, you embraced the Change for Hope manifesto that laid the foundation for the Pro-Poor Agenda for Prosperity and Development, PAPD. The plan sought 4 different but interrelated pathways in achieving goals, including human development, macroeconomic stability, job creation, infrastructure development, and sustainable peace and good governance. For example, the CDC inherited a messy educational system as described by the United Party's former Standing Bearer, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and turned it into a success story that one can see today. The CDC government restored confidence in the educational system by admitting Liberia to the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WAS regional examination, expanding access and increasing learning outcomes of WAS score from 38% to an impressive 85%. With the payment of WAS fees for all 9th and 12th graders in public schools, about 240,000 students benefited from the government free WAS program. This program reduced the financial burden on poor families directly. In addition to the renovation and improvement of health facilities, the government constructed 3 major hospitals in Bapolu, Riverside, and Magibi, while an additional 4 regional referral hospitals are under construction even today. With the deployment and employment of more qualified health workers, more than 85% of births are now attended by skilled health attendants, which has contributed to the reduction in home deliveries and maternal mortality. We took a giant step to ensure prudent fiscal management policies led to a reduction in inflation from nearly 40% in 2018 to about 7% in 2023, the most drastic reduction in inflation in the region. The administration also restricted using overdrafts from the Central Bank of Liberia to bridge financial gaps in the national budget, and also used the federal tax administration to increase domestic resource mobilization from 445 million in 2017 to 668 million in 2023. We increased Liberia's net reserve from 94 million in 2017 to about 223 million in 2023. Our consolidated account turnover balance increased from 7 million in 2018 to about 40 million in 2023. Fellow Liberians, there have been significant efforts made to build infrastructure to facilitate economic growth, including the pavement of primary roads up to about 289.7 kilometers, and also urban roads of about 96.4 kilometers as of June 2023. At the end of 2023, it is projected that about 454 kilometers of road shall have been paved by the CDC government. The cost of electricity has drastically decreased from 38 cents to an average of 18 cents per kilowatts, and access has increased from 22% in 2018 to 30% in 2022. Additionally, power theft has been substantially reduced from 60% in 2017 to 43% in 2022, and now stands at 30.5%. There's been accomplished by 100% Liberian management of the Liberia Legislature Corporation LLC. In our efforts to maintain the rule of law, the judiciary has remained independent in its work while coordinating to improve the overall system of jurisprudence. With the training of new magistrates, most of our courts of original jurisdiction and first instance are now managed highly by trained personnel. The case adjudication rate has increased within the judiciary, while the magisterial setting mechanism has been instituted to reduce pre-trial detainees, and the overcrowdedness of prison facilities has also been reduced. The government of Liberia succeeded in passing 2 landmark acts, including the Local Government Act and the Land Right Act, to address self-governance, tenure of rights, and a mechanism for the formalization of community land rights. In 2009, the government conducted a harmonization process that provided an opportunity to reduce waste in the public wage bills, eliminated duplications, and provided means for equal work for an equal pay system within the government service system. On July 30th, 2020, online platform, July 30th, 2020 online platform, the Electronic Document Management System, or EDMS, was launched under the theme Public Financial Management Reforms, or PFMR, for institutional strengthening project, while establishing online procurement system linked with IFMRS deployed to 25 ministries that are still existing today, agencies, and commissions. In continuation of the equal work for equal pay process, there has been a uniform compensation scheme established for all state-owned enterprises, or SOES. In the fight to restore integrity to the financial system, the government supported the deployment of the Internal Audit Agency, or IAA, in more than 70% of government institutions, and introduced the scorecard system that monitors compliance with financial regulations. Moreover, the audit of the government consolidated account have become regular, with significant improvements in financial management. Today, the government receives unqualified opinions from the GAC on the audit of the consolidated account as compared to disclaimer in 2017 during the UP regime. In simple terms, the auditors were saying, we cannot touch your report, and saying to the CDC, thank you for the way you manage the country's money. Meaning, auditors could not heretofore recognize the flow of accounting, or the flow of accounting, to determine whether government revenues were being spent and accounted for wisely. This is a remarkable trend that needs to
Amanda. Amanda.
This is a remarkable trend that needs to underscore the important aspect of justice and the rule of law, as with the establishment of the World Economic Crimes Court, which has been referenced earlier. From all indications, Liberians have welcomed this move as evidenced by their vote for President Joseph Boakai, who campaigned on this subject with a commitment to move for the court establishment within his first year in office. It is therefore this ingenious that the president will now start to backpedal on this commitment when he said in his inaugural address that he could rather establish an office to do a feasibility of the code, unquote. That's quote unquote. Not only could this be a waste of taxpayers' money, another expansion of an ineffective bureaucratic system, but another attempt to uphold justice for over 240,000 victims of the Civil War. President Boakai must understand unequivocally that the establishment of the World Economic Crimes Court needs no more feasibility. Enough of such have occurred with over 50 lawmakers from the 5010 legislators signed a petition for the court establishment. This is long overdue. The CDC challenged President Boakai to muster the courage and do what he promised during the campaign. To assist in this regard, the CDC has directed all its lawmakers, as mentioned by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, to provide all relevant support and cooperation for this long denial of justice to the Liberian people. While we think JNB is completely out of touch with the realities in Liberia or may have been misinformed by its chronics, the CDC, with an understanding of the real-life situation of the Liberian people after 6 years, would like to provide this alternative for the unity if they are genuine to transform the livelihoods